All right, Rutgers and Minnesota. We got Minnesota 5-point home favorites, 51 being the total in this game. I took over in this game, 50.5. It's just, to me, Rutgers, I'm betting overs with them every week until they prove they can defend, until I prove, and their offense is pretty solid right now with Kaliak-Manis. I like the angle of him going back to Minnesota, the place he started his college football career. Revenge game for the Greek Stallion, Ethan Kaliak-Manis here in this game. So, he'll be revved up to play against his former team. We'll see if he's able to put a good performance together. Minnesota, it's been some good, some bad from the offense. Obviously, we like Darius Taylor, the running back, but, for Drake Lindsey, I think there's something there with Drake Lindsey. I do think long term, he's got the chance to be, I think, more of a explosive player at the quarterback spot than, say, Tanner Morgan and some of these quarterbacks we've seen in the past from Minnesota. But obviously, it was a tough spot for them against Cal. A couple weeks ago, we mentioned how it was the same damn thing happened with both Boston College and Minnesota. They went out on the West Coast. They played a team, in a very late game, and you could tell that they were just discombobulated. That's what it looked like to me watching Minnesota against Cal in that loss to the Golden Bears. So again, we'll have to wait and see if the Golden Bears can Golden Gophers, I should say, can bounce. They lost to the Golden Bears. The Golden Gophers can bounce back from that here in this game. This is a game where I think I always like Rutgers taking points, not laying points. I like what I've seen from the offense here. Now, they're coming off that 38-28 loss against Iowa at home. But when you look at Minnesota, they played Buffalo. They didn't cover as home favorites in that game. I was on Buffalo plus the points at Minnesota. They blew out Northwestern State. That doesn't say much. And then they're off the Cal game last week. Now, it is a bye week. That's a plus for P.J. Fleck in Minnesota. They didn't play last week. Like I said, though, the Rutgers defense has had problems, but their offense is pretty solid. 4-0 to the over this year. I think we see this game get up and over the total. The one thing, too, is Minnie wants to run the football. No question about that. And one thing about Rutgers is you start to see those run defense numbers. Not what you want to see. 151.5 per game allowed on the ground. That's 78th in the country. 5.1 rushing or yards per carry allowed, and that is 120th in the country. So there's been issues with the run defense for Rutgers, and the run game for Minnesota can open things up for Drake Lindsey in the passing game down the field. So I like this over. Again, Rutgers is not 4-0 to the over by accident. Okay, their defense is nowhere near what it's been at times in the past.
They were dead over last year, the last 6 games or so.
Yep. And I think Minnesota is going to have that's probably why I'm going to I lean Rutgers plus the points, but I feel like if you like Rutgers, you may want to prefer to take the team total over. If you're betting on because that's what you're betting on. If you like Rutgers in this game, you're betting on the offense. You're certainly not betting on the defense because the defense just hasn't been very good. But I think Kaliak-Manis going back to Minnesota, I like that angle. I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He's going to look to play well, and he actually has played okay for Rutgers here this year. And so I think they can move it a little bit, score points. And I think Minnesota can just line it up, run the football down Rutgers' throat. They've had issues stopping the run. And I think it equates to this game going over the total. Lean Rutgers, but I like the total. I prefer that. C-Mac, what do you think here? Rutgers, Minnesota.
Yeah, one thing with Rutgers, which I saw in the Cal game, even though the spot we talked about, was they were able to throw it on Minnesota. They didn't really run the ball. I mean, they tried. I think they had 24 carries for 60 yards. And Rutgers all of a sudden just throwing the ball like crazy. So maybe they can have some success. The spot here, that was just screams Minnesota. Here's maybe Minnesota first half that after the loss on the bye back here at home that they play well. And I think they have the better defense. Like you mentioned, they could just run the ball here, keep the clock ticking. That's the only thing about the over. But you already brought it up too. I mean, these Rutgers games, it's like just going over, lying over. No totals in the way in this game. So, yeah, I might be off there, but I think this is a Minnesota type spot, even though I don't love laying points with them.
Yeah, and like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But like I said, with this the offense has been solid. It's been defense that's been a concern. And that's why I think Minnesota definitely has a good day offensively. I think Rutgers also puts up enough points and we see it go over the total. All right. You know what? I mentioned leaning Rutgers, and I still do. I don't love laying 5 with Minnesota, but it is a pretty strong spot for Minnesota. Off a bye and a loss, the kind of spot that might keep me off taking Rutgers. All right.